بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين. وفقنا للعمل بما يرضيك عنا وإلى غيرك لا تكلنا. افتح أقفال قلوبنا بذكرك وألهمنا شكرك واجعلنا من أهل معرفتك ولا تجعلنا من الغافلين، آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are still reflecting on the book of Al-Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, Kitab al-Arba'in fi Usul al-Din, the 40 principles of the religion. Last time we have spoken about the disease which affects the heart, anger. Today Ghazali will talk about envy, which is under the fourth diseases which affect the heart. So Al-Ghazali rahimahullah started this chapter by quoting a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam: Al-hasadu ya'kulu al-hasanat kama ta'kulu an-naru al-hatab. So envy eats your good deeds like fire eats the wood. So you can imagine this easily, because everyone knows how the fire can eat the wood and consume it. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying that envy is like this, can eat into your hasanat, into your bank account, into your savings, into your current account, you name it. But it's not the real money, it's something more important than the money, because the money you leave behind when you die, but what you take with you with your actions, your book of deeds, this is what stays with you. So envy penetrates this account and dilute the good reward which you have. So it's a warning from the Prophet ﷺ, and it's a very, if you want, visual scene. And this is something very common by the Prophet ﷺ. If he wants to deliver a message, he will give a visual scene, he will give a new angle to that, he will give a new dimension, he will give a new definition, he will attract the attention of the audience, he will try with his style alayhi salatu wassalam of delivery to capture the imagination, the mind, the hearts of his audience alayhi salatu wassalam. And here you go. This is one of his styles of delivery alayhi salatu wassalam. So he's saying, look, if paraphrasing of course, if you got into envy, it's not good for you, it's not healthy for you, it will eat your hasanat, your good deeds. So, and you think that you worked hard to get these good deeds, and you probably suffered, you have tolerated many things to get into this level of hasanat, be it good deeds of siyam or salah or charity or zakah or you name it. So it doesn't come that very easy, yes, but it can easily disappear from your account when you do some of these things which are prohibited, like hasad, which is envy. So the Prophet ﷺ is telling us here, don't get into hasad because it's not good. In another narration, Al-Ghazali quoting here, rahimahullah ta'ala, which is not uh, an authentic narration. It's a very weak narration, and the scholars have issues with this narration. But the summary of this narration, it's about three things are related to our ummah. Or in general, related to everyone. Three things very difficult to get rid of them. And he mentioned one of these three things, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is envy, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But as I said, the hadith is very weak. But nevertheless, the meaning, yes, it's difficult to get rid of envy, but it is possible. In another narration, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned as well hasad or envy is one of the diseases which afflicted the previous nations. So again, he described it like a disease, da. So da, it's the opposite of dawa. Dawa, like cure. So there's a disease and there's a cure. So the Prophet ﷺ described it like a disease. And again, it's something to make you understand the gravity of hasad. It's something like a disease. So no one likes. Everyone should hate. Yes? So it means if you got it, you should quickly seek a cure. You should not be happy about it. You should get rid of it. You should work hard to prevent it rather than getting the cure and the medicine for it afterwards. So first, do the prevention. And then if you got it, then you go and go through the medical, spiritual process, of course. So here you go. The Prophet ﷺ is saying that it's a disease and we have to get rid of this disease. And then Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala defined what is hasad. He said hasad, envy, is without doubt prohibited. And it's about to love that the favor of Allah to be taken from someone else. To get it yourself, or to just wish that this person lose this favor and no one gets it. Or you like that a bad thing, you wish that person that he will be or might be afflicted by something bad. Again, this is under the prohibition. So Prophet ﷺ prohibits this. Sharia prohibits this. In different verses in the Quran, around in 4 locations in the Quran, we see that Allah talks about hasad. And the first time you see in the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah. So it talks about that people of the book did not believe the prophetic message because they did envy him, alayhi salatu wassalam. How come he got it and we did not get it? We were expecting that this message is coming through us, through the Jewish community or the Jewish tribes or these kind of things, but it didn't come through them. So we are not interested. Similarly happened with some of the leaders of Quraysh. They said, how come that it's coming from Bani Hashim? because Prophet ﷺ is Hashimi. So how come it's coming through Bani Hashim? Why it's not coming through us, through our tribe? Because of this, we are not interested. So again, it's about envy. Envy can be fatal, actually. So those people just ruin their akhirah because of hasad. So they have sacrificed their hereafter because of envy. Can you imagine? Somebody is sacrificing his hereafter because of envy. He's saying, yeah, had it been in our tribe, we would believe. But because it's not in our tribe, sorry, we can't. They will be better than us. We can't tolerate this idea. Wow. And this is part and parcel of envy. So one of the reasons of envy, that you envy somebody, you think that you are better than him. So how come he got this and I didn't get it? Who said you are better than him and you should get it? Who said this? In your mind, in your heart, you believe that, yeah, he's not worthy of this. Yeah, who you are to decide that this person is worthy and this person is not worthy of this? Who you are to decide? So the person who is committing hasad, envy, indirectly or sometimes directly, but let's go with the indirectly, he is objecting to the division of Allah's favors, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who gave your neighbor a better car than you, for instance, if you were to envy him for his car? Who facilitated for him to get this car? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who you are to say, but he's not worthy of this, I worthy, better than him? You are not satisfied with the distribution of the favors of Allah. This is what it says. Even if you are not pronouncing this, but indirectly, this is what it is. So it's about no satisfaction but with the distribution of the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be it a wealth or beauty or status or knowledge or you name it. Can be in anything. In anything. I was listening the other day to an interview, which is a very odd interview. I never came across this before. The first time ever in my life I hear something like this. I read about it many times in the books, but this is a first-hand experience. So the person who's speaking is the person, she's a practicing Muslim, and she knows that when she envies somebody, she hurts them, and she knows that. And she started narrating what happened when she likes somebody's shoes, somebody's dress, somebody's stuff, and she started narrating fresh incidents happened to her and keep happening. She said, I once saw my friend and she was wearing a new shoes. I liked her shoes. And then I made hasad to her. Then she fell off and she broken her shoes, her heels. And then I went to her, and ironically, she went and she said, sorry, I like your shoes and I couldn't help it but to envy you for your shoes. So sorry, I just, done hasad to you. And the interviewer, he was, are you serious? She said, yeah, I can tell you more. And she started telling more serious stuff. Somebody was standing and she liked her, I don't know, way of doing things, and then she got injured or something along these lines. And I said, oh my Lord, I read this in the books of fiqh, and they said the ruling on somebody who knows that he has an evil eye. because these are two interlinked, hasad and evil eye. So they said that there used to be a person who's well known in the city that she has an evil eye. So the judge decided that she should cover her eye. And they tested which one is the evil eye. They tested this, no, this, and then they discovered that the right one or the left one, they have to cover her eye and ask her to cover her eye whenever she goes out. And when I read this, I said, probably this is sort of, exaggeration. Until I came across this interview with this very lady, and I thought, wow, it's really so scary. And she knows that she has an evil eye. And I was wondering why she didn't ask for the remedy for this. She can work on herself. She can prevent this from happening. But anyway, we are digressing a bit now, but just giving you an idea, how can somebody get so cruel in his evil eye if he didn't get the cure and the prevention? So this is why the scholars mentioned, of course, from the Quran and from the Sunnah, that it is haram to envy somebody. And don't confuse hasad with good competition, i.e., but this is what we differentiate in Arabic between two things, between hasad and between competition. Competition, like you envy somebody for something good, but you don't in any shape or form wish that he loses this favor and you get it, or he gets ill and you get cured. No, you like someone's knowledge and say, mashallah, he has very good understanding. I wish I have the same thing. This is not hasad. This is a competition, good thing. You can and you are allowed to have something like this and say, Ya Allah, provide me with the same understanding, or be it about wealth, say, Ya Allah, facilitate for me wealth like you facilitated for this person, because I want to give to the needy and be a source of goodness as well for your sake. There's nothing wrong with this, as long as there's no evil involved with it, i.e., you do not wish that this person loses his money and you get it. This is completely wrong and haram. You do not wish that this person receives something evil and then he stops doing good things. No. So if your intention that I want to be like this person, and may Allah bless his knowledge or his wealth or his status or whatever it might be, then there's nothing wrong with this. This is a common thing. Everybody amongst us do have this every now and then. And Ghazali commented on this issue as well by saying, and it is allowed to wish that somebody loses the favor which Allah has given to him. And this is the first time I read this. And it was, how come? Then listen till I finish. And he said, you are allowed to do so if this favor was in the hands of an oppressor, and he's using it to oppress others and spread evil and so on. So you wish that he loses this ni'mah, this favor, because you want this evil to stop. So he's so wealthy, for instance, yes? And because of his wealth, he can hire some people and go and beat others up. Or he can go and bribe some judges and put some people in prison. He can go and by the false documentation and claim someone else's property, you name it. So he is utilizing his wealth in evil. So you are allowed to wish that he loses this wealth to stop this evil which he's creating, which is a very deep understanding from Imam Al-Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala. But if he were to be a good person, you don't wish that he loses this favor. So it's not personal here. Yes, be careful, because many of these incidents of envy it's sometimes personal thing. I don't like this person. You don't like him, it's your personal business, but it's not a license for you to envy him, to wish him evil. No, it doesn't give you the license to wish anyone evil, actually. Unless in this very odd scenario which we mentioned earlier, if it was an oppressive situation, and yes, you wish that person loses his power, loses his wealth because of the evil which being created by that wealth and stuff like that. And then Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned that the reason behind envy. By the way, for those who attended our previous course, Keep Your Heart Healthy, we dedicated a section under the 7 diseases of the heart. Envy was one of these 7 diseases. So there's a lot to go through, actually. But I will go with what Ghazali is mentioning here, with some probably additions a bit. So Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala is mentioning here the reason behind envy. He said envy is caused by, number one, kibr, pride. Or let me probably change the translation from pride to arrogance. Yes, because in Arabic it's kibr, and kibr usually it's arrogance. So because you are so arrogant, you can't see somebody who's better than you in status, in wealth, in beauty, in understanding, in whatever. Yes. So this is probably a very, very common thing between many people. So he's saying this is the reason number one behind hasad, envy. He said the reason number two is enmity. You hate him, you have, history with him, or you have a fight with him or her. So it created this animosity between you and him, or you and her. Because of this, you envy him. You don't want to see any goodness on this person. You want to see him begging in the street, as they say. No, this is not the believer's status. The believer, he's always wishing good for everyone. And the reason number three, he says, the evil of the ego which you have in yourself. He has no animosity. He has barely met this person. He never met this person. Yes, but he doesn't like to see any good on anyone. So because his ego, his evil in him, just doesn't like any good to anyone. Yes. It's not personal. Don't misunderstand me, he might say to him. It's not personal, but I hate everybody. So it's not personal. This is absolutely wrong. You need to work on yourself. If you feel that you don't like any goodness to be seen on anybody but yourself, then this is a serious problem. Because Ghazali explaining, rahimahullah ta'ala, he's saying that it's like being stingy concerning Allah's blessings on his servants because it's not of his interest. Yes? It's not you who decides who takes what. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he decides who takes what. Yes? So don't put yourself in that position of being a judge and saying, yeah, but they don't deserve this. Don't say this. Don't say this. You never know. It might be a test for them as well. It might be a reward for them. It might be Allahu A'lam. We don't know what's behind this. So do not interfere. So the bigger picture is Allah is the creator. Allah is the provider. So he provides to whom he wills, the way he likes, the way he wanted. So we don't interfere. And we don't know what is his wisdom, what's the wisdom behind this. We don't know. We have very limited knowledge, very limited understanding. And then Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, the way to treat envy and remove it from the heart is through the following. First, he said, you should know that envy is one of the diseases of the hearts, the greatest illness of the heart is to have envy. And then he said, and the illness of the heart can't be treated, but I'm just translating literally from the Arabic. The illness of the heart can't be treated but through this paste. Yes, you have toothpaste. Yes, he's saying it's like a paste here. It's special because he's talking about medicine. Yes, you have pills and you have paste. So he's saying here, I'll give you the medicine for this. What is the medicine? It's a combination of many things together, two things together, and then there's a paste. You use this, yes, and you will be cured. Okay, what is this combination which creates this medicine? He says two things. Ilm and amal. The combination between these two create this paste. Ilm and amal. Okay. Regarding the knowledge, ilm, he's saying that you should know that your envy, yes, it will not affect the person whom you want to harm. It will not affect him. Unless, of course, in odd scenarios, you have an evil eye. Yes. It will not affect this person. Even if it were to affect him, it will benefit him, actually. It will not affect him. How? Because we mentioned earlier that this person takes your hasanat, your good deeds. When you envy somebody, he takes your good deeds. So you wanted to harm him, you have benefited him. So you've done the opposite of what you are after. So don't do that. It's a lose-lose situation. Yes. And number two, Allah will be displeased with you because of this envy. Why? Because you are objecting to his distribution, as we mentioned earlier. So objecting to Allah's distribution makes Allah displeased with you. So don't get there. Don't. So you should look and resolve this before it goes beyond control. And this distribution of the favors of Allah Azza wa Jal, it's under his qada and qadar. So this is what he decided, subhanahu wa ta'ala, preordained destiny. And we don't know how does it work. So we need to believe in destiny, the good and the bad of it. And Allah's treasures are huge. So don't restrict it to your own whims and desires. Don't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gives from his treasures to whom he wills, from his servants. So Ghazali says, this is regarding the effect on the deen. So it affects your deen from two ways. Number one, that it takes your hasanat. Number two, it makes Allah displeased with you. This is regarding your deen, your religion. It affects your dunya by leaving you in a state of sadness. Why? Because every time you look at that person, you see that Allah has given him more favors than you have. Allah has done this to him. It makes you angry inside. It makes you sad because you have no satisfaction with what Allah has given to you, because you did not understand that this is his distribution, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do not want to comply with this. So it harms this person in this dunya, but he never ceases to be in constant distress and grief. And it affects him and affects those who are around him, be it his wife, his children, her husband, her children, friends, families, you name it. He's always grumpy and angry because his friend is better than him. And sometimes things can get worse when the husband starts teasing the wife. Yeah, look at your friend, she's better than you. You graduated the same class, and look at her, look at you. Or vice versa. She might tell her husband off by saying, look at your friend, he's just now running a company and you are working an employee in his company. Yeah, look at yourself. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. You shouldn't do this. So be careful not to fall into this trap. And the shaitan will definitely make the hole bigger for you to fall into that trap easily. Yes. So don't get into this much and don't allow it to grow. Because, for instance, Ghazali is mentioning here, and he will take your good deeds, especially when you go and backbite him. Because you are annoyed from that person, you go and backbite him, you go and talk about him, Yeah, go and do that. He will take more of your hasanat. And if you were to make dua against him, if he doesn't deserve it, it will make the U-turn on you, if you want. It will go against you because you've asked Allah for something which this person doesn't deserve. Then it backfires on you. Don't do that. Al-Ghazali says it's like somebody who's throwing a stone on someone else, and then if that person doesn't deserve that, it might hit the tree and come back to your eye, and then it will affect your eye and your sight. Don't do this. But nevertheless, you are allowed to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you something like him, like knowledge, like wealth, like without having this wish inside you that he loses this favor and you get it. If you love knowledge, if you love people of goodness, then you get the reward of loving what they are doing for Allah's sake, and Allah will reward you by providing for you something to be like them or something close to them, inshallah ta'ala. This is regarding the knowledge, he's saying, Ghazali, because we said two things. Ghazali said two things to get the cure and the remedy. Number one, the knowledge. So you go through this knowledge process. Number two is the action. How do we activate this? He's saying here, you should know that the ruling regarding envy, which is haram, and you should do the opposite of that. The opposite, instead of talking bad about this person, you talk good about this person. Instead of showing him that you are upset and angry, I tell you, first-hand experience. Sometimes some people who envy, they cannot help it. They cannot hide it, actually. For instance, you have something, you bought something new and nice and good, and somebody might see this on you, or be it a car or a dress or I don't know. He will not say Mubarak. He will not say congratulations. He will. You can see that his face is you know, full of envy on his face. And you say, oh my God, I wish I never put it on. I wish I never showed it to him. I wish I never invited him. They cannot. I came across this first-hand experience. He says, SubhanAllah. And then you have to protect yourself through reminding this person about the favors of Allah and Bismillah, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah. Then mention the name of Allah just to break this envy cycle, not to affect you in any shape or form, inshallah ta'ala. So try to do the opposite of what's in your heart. If you knew that you are now getting into envy, so do the opposite. Say, may Allah bless it for him, may Allah increase his reward or increase his favors on you, may Allah bless it for you, may Allah, just go against your evil nafs. Yes, break this barrier and try to help this person to be better. Yes, not to do stuff which takes away the favor from this person, plotting and cunning and this and that. No, don't do that. And then Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, you should hate wishing bad for anyone. Because envy is about you wish somebody loses his favor. Yes, you should focus on this point and say, how do I get into this feeling? I shouldn't wish anyone evil. Put yourself in his shoes. Do you wish anyone to wish you evil? No, you hate it for yourself, then you hate it for others. So be careful not to get into that, because it will affect you. And then Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, you should train your mind that this favor is from Allah Azza wa Jal, and I accept the provisions of Allah Azza wa Jal, the distribution of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his favors, and I should be pleased with what Allah is pleased with. And instead of hating this, you train yourself to like it and to help this person to be better, and so on and so forth. even when sometimes you do something, but deep down you don't approve 100%. Keep doing it. For instance, you envy that person, but because you want to break this envy, you went and you congratulated him and you said Mubarak for you, this, that, and the other, and you try to even support and help and talk about this person in a nice, good way, of course, if he's deserving. Even if deep down you are not 100% into this, but this is part and parcel of training yourself to get better, to get rid of this feeling. It won't come easily, but with training you can get rid of this. And then you know that Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who provides for everyone, and Allah loves his provisions to be seen on his servants. So just look at this and see, yes, I understand, and then work accordingly. So this is, in a nutshell, if you want, how Ghazali treated the envy and the reasons and cure regarding this. I will, inshallah, open the floor for your questions now, or your comments.
Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh. More interesting things you've added to this topic, mashallah. Aisha, you have a question?
Yes, Jazakallah khair. If a non-Muslim or a atheist envies you and tries everything to make your life hell as a result, what happens? Do you benefit from, I mean, you know, an atheist's hasanat, he hasn't got any, I don't know. I mean, if it's not a Muslim envying you, a non-Muslim, and is trying to put banana skins in your path all the time to trip you up, what do you get rewards alone for that difficulty that you have to go around? Okay.
Definitely, you get reward, and Allah will make it backfire on him or her. Because
and it's true, and it does.
Justice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So
it will backfire on them.
And the same if they backbite about me and they're non-Muslims.
Of course, definitely, yes. They will fall into the trap which they have done.
Yes, yes, it makes sense. Jazakallah khair.
Sabah, your question, please. Assalamu
alaikum. I also have a question about when you're the person being envied, potentially, but not in relation to non-Muslims doing the envying. So what if you're aware of a person or people? What if a person is aware of people who are envying? And what can one do to protect oneself from the, so I'm very solution orientated here, as you can see. What can you do to protect oneself other than, say, the goals, Ayatul Kursi? What else can you pack into your arsenal for protection?
Yeah,
not just for a hypothetical, but for an actual situation.
We covered this in our course, how to keep your heart healthy. And we mentioned the Ghazali did not mention here, but we can add it, inshallah ta'ala. The prevention. The Ghazali did not talk about the prevention method. Prevention here, you recite قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس, because the surah قل أعوذ برب الفلق, the reason behind this was about envy. ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very clear. من شر حاسد إذا حسد. So you recite it and you mean what you recite. You understand what you recite. You are seeking protection and refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from envy and from evil of the envy and any evil. Definitely Ayat al-Kursi, Surah al-Fatiha, these are like fortresses, protects you inshallah ta'ala against any evil, any envy might happen to you bi'idhnillah ta'ala. And it is helpful if you came across this person, and I told you that sometimes they cannot hide it. They say, wow, what is this new dress? Wow, like this, instead of saying, MashaAllah, Mubarak, yeah. Instead of this, and you felt, oh my God, it's so weird. Then quickly remind this person, say, yes, Bismillah, MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah. Just remind them. Sometimes they might even do it subconsciously without noticing that they are envying you. So you need to bring them back to protection and help them to go against this habit which they might have without recognizing. Some people, not because they are evil, because they are not aware sometimes. So it's good to remind them and say, yes, MashaAllah, Bismillah, say Bismillah, Akhi or sister, in a nice way, in a joking way. Yes. They will recognize that, yeah, I didn't mean that, sorry, which is helpful, which is good. So we can do that. Inshallah ta'ala, we will be protected. Bismillah. Regarding sometimes people do put some amulets or some, I don't know, stuff they hang in their bracelet or something, like a hand with 5 fingers. There's
I didn't
nothing
mean any
like
of that.
this.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
I understand. I'm elaborating on your question. Some people might put some stuff and think that this will protect them from evil eye, or some people might put the blue stuff as well in their necklace. Some people might put a small doll in their car, or small shoes in their car. And if you were to ask, why did you put this? To protect the car from evil eye. No, there's no such a thing. No, this is not allowed. And you shouldn't believe that this will protect you from evil eye. Yes?
Thank you, Sheikh. Oh, can I ask a tag-on question, actually? So sometimes we get people who might otherwise be rather nice and quite sincere and trying to please Allah, but you notice that they do have some serious insecurities, and the result of that insecurity may sometimes come out in the form of envy, or what seems to be envy, and them not being overly thrilled by some aspects of other people's lives, and that may well be, as in, you may notice it yourself, for example. So does this kind of thing, would you say all of these things apply to that situation as well, when it's people being insecure? Because Ghazali doesn't mention that in the 3 things that you mentioned, whereas I really do feel that is one of the things that it seems to me that is insecurity is one of the reasons. What do you think? Do you think Ghazali's 3 are the main ones, or do you think there are others as well? What would you say is?
Depends how you see it, because this feeling of insecurity, again, it shows that you don't understand the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, Allah's distribution to his servants. And this is his will, and we should accept Allah's will subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we shouldn't object to Allah's will. Now, somebody has insecurity. He doesn't like to see anyone better than him or her. This is the issue, which goes back, if you want to, uh, arrogance. Not necessarily the arrogant person is somebody who's so strong, so this, so that. No, he might be very weak, but very arrogant. It doesn't, there's no correlation between body fitness and arrogance. No.
Sometimes they don't seem arrogant. That's what I mean. Sometimes these people, they don't necessarily seem arrogant. So would it then tie in with the other two reasons, basically?
Or,
When testing Allah's decree, not being happy with
yes,
the way
indirectly,
his favors.
if you were to explain, if they were to educate themselves about this, I don't think any believer will accept this. That, yeah, I'm against the distribution of Allah's favors. He or she will hate it if they knew about it. But because we have no knowledge, so we need to educate ourselves on that.
Jazakallah khair.
Right,
That's helpful. Assalamu alaikum.
You started the session by saying that Ghazali said it was one of the greatest illnesses of the heart. But I'm sure, have we not said this about other illnesses like kibr or anger?
Yeah, it's on the list of the great illnesses of the heart, because there are plenty, but the top 7, top 5, it includes envy.
And what about, one of the things in Saba's questions, I was saying, what else can you do to protect yourself? I think you've said in the past that you can be humble, so not blow your own trumpet, not draw attention to your achievements or things that you have, to avoid envy.
In the hadith, actually, although it has some weakness in it, but the meaning of the hadith is fine. It suggests in the hadith that you shouldn't announce every favor you have been given from Allah Azza wa Jal to protect yourself against envy. Something along these lines, not 100% accurate translation, but the meaning is along these lines.
Okay, and also when you were talking about the person who had one evil eye and covering up one evil eye, so is it that, so is envy something that not everybody has, like the evil eye? It's something that some people have, or one eye has? I mean,
this is something probably we have, all of us, we have evil eye, but depends on the level of the evil which might come through. Some people it's very easy to accommodate. Some people it's so strong it can penetrate the glass and break the glass and do stuff like, wow, what is this? Like magic. It is like this. And this lady was telling the stories like magic, to be honest. I was, wow, what is this?
so if you have somebody who's got that level of evil eye and they've said, oh, wow, about something, by the time you haven't said mashallah, isn't that a bit late? By then, hasn't it? They're a bit bolting the door after.
We used to have a neighbor like this. I'm not sure if she's still alive or passed away, rahimahullah, I don't know. We once bought television. My father, rahimahullah, he bought us a television. At that time, it was the very first time the colored television, because from black and white television to the color television. She came and she visited us and she saw the color television and she said, wow, what's that? Believe me, the moment she left, that the screen went green. Green screen. And we knew that she has this attribute. So we started hiding stuff from her because we don't want things to be ruined by her evil eye. And she's well known in the area that she has this issue. But we didn't know at that time until we got this first-hand experience.
Can people have the evil eye without realizing it? For example, someone pays you a compliment, and I've always been told, say very quickly, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, in case they attribute illness or make you look ill, because they have the evil eye unwillingly. They just
Yes.
have it. That's very scary, because if I say a compliment to somebody and they look ill the next day, it could be me having the evil eye. So how?
Let's be balanced. Let's not go to the extremes.
Okay.
We have some scenarios, very extreme scenarios, and I told you the extreme scenarios, but the normal scenarios, it doesn't go to that extreme.
Okay.
So we shouldn't be obsessed. Again, this is good to drop it here and tell you that there are, again, I came across many people, they are so obsessed with evil eye. There's no illness anymore in this world. It's everything about evil eye. Tummy ache, I have evil eye. They made an accident in the car, evil eye. They lost in their business, evil eye. They missed their bus, evil eye. They have failed in their exams, evil eye. Come on, give me a break. No, this is too much. I'm seriously telling you the truth. To that extent, anything and everything around them is about evil eye. No. So this is extreme. We shouldn't go to that extreme. Of course, the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith, he says, Al-Ainu haq. Evil eye is true. It's true. Yes, but don't exaggerate and that everything is evil eye. No. And don't say there's no evil eye whatsoever. No. But be balanced and don't go to the extreme.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, Sheikh, for bringing more clarity to this topic. Next week we'll be looking at
Bukhul.
And will we have a session next week?
Miserliness. Next week
be the
we will
30th.
announce near the
Near the
date,
time, inshallah.
ta'ala.
Okay, so watch this space, and please do check our website for our latest course, which we're announcing on the 5 fiqh maxims, which will be on the 8th of February, inshallah. So you can take a peek at that, and we will announce more details later, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan to everyone for joining, and to you, Sheikh, for your very busy day that you've had today.
بارك الله فيك يا عائشة and everyone. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم إنا نسألك من خير ما سألك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه عبدك ونبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل، ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل. اللهم وما قضيت لنا من أمر فاجعل عاقبته لنا رشدا يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وسامحنا وعافنا واعف عنا، اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولأزواجنا وذرياتنا والمسلمين، ثبتنا على دينك وطاعتك يا رب العالمين. صلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين.